how far has this sector really contributed? Because there's a target of 11 billion as well as a target of 38 billion by the federal government, particularly in 2025. How will they be able to realize all these targets? And also, going further, how will this help the Nigerian economy, shape the Nigerian economy, and put it in a real perspective whereby Nigerians and for Nigerians can benefit? Joining me right now is Yusuf Muyideen Ahmed, a geospatial and GIS consultant who have been working in the mining sector to help us understand the sector in perspective and how the sector will really contribute to the Nigerian economy. Mr. Yusuf, it's glad to have you on the show.
Good afternoon and welcome to the program, listeners. And it's nice being here for the program.
Exactly. So, you are a player in that industry. Can you just help us to understand? Even though I gave a very long introduction about that sector, you are a player, you understand that sector very well. Give us a perspective around the mining sector.
What I do is I'm a remote sensing expert. Then we normally help in gazetting areas so that to know if there is minerals or how you can locate where these minerals are. But having said that, generally the economy is been performing on an increased level under the watch of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu administration. But the mining sector is now playing a critical role of reshaping how mining is being done in this country. Because when the minister, Dele Alake, came in, he came in with a robust 7-point agenda, which is critical to make sure that the sector is moved from where it used to be to the next level. As in your intro, you made mention of the 0.3% performance in the year before now. But the government has set a target of 3% so that the mining sector can contribute. How the way they go about doing that? You also mentioned that there's a new lease of licensing to cadastrate this mining site all over the country, and a lot of people, about 1,000 of them, applied, and the revenue drive in the ministry rose from near nothing to about 6 billion that you have stated in your intro. This is when you come out with a blueprint and a plan to move away from artisanal miners that are not registered. One of the key points is to register all the miners, know who is mining where and why, and to what scope. So what they do at the cadastral zone of the Ministry of Mining is to make sure that they carve out an area for a particular company registered under them, so that illegal miners will be curbed. So when you curb illegal mining and you have people well gazetted to mine in a particular area, and you can't exceed the land size measured for you, that's an area. Then this mining company that are registered, there is a regulation in the ministry that you must have a particular type of equipment. Because before, all over the world, mining feed are associated with environmental damage and other things. No, so, but when you have a particular know-how coupled with the equipment, before you are being registered, the ministry is able to curb illegal mining and environmental damage. These are one of the, then all these companies are tailored together. One of the agenda is that they should have universal best practice that suits the international community. So international standard. All this mining zone or mining company were licensed in as such. So having them in a digitized world, knowing who is where and what is coming out of that particular place, has enabled the government to know what is the quantum and the volume of mineral that is being shipped out of this country. Then you'll be able to tax them accordingly. And as such, the mining sector is now being watched. Then when this key performance index has been put in place by the ministry, multinational company who hitherto don't bring their money into Nigeria because of the sharp practices and illegal mining, now are bringing their money. If you go to Kaduna towards the Niger State border, you will see industrial park for lithium. A very humongous, about $600 million in investment through foreign is being channeled into those companies. Likewise, recently in Nasarawa State, the Nasarawa State government have had more than 2 to 3 Chinese and other multinational companies coming into Nasarawa to build the biggest lithium processing plant in Nasarawa State. Now, one thing with economies and growth is that if you have a raw material, for instance, and you ship it out raw, you can't benefit enormously. But when you add value, now what the government is trying to do is now, the policy of this new government is that there must be value addition before this mineral will be shipped out. Like if you need lithium, this company, this electronic car company, Tesla, the owner came into Nigeria to try to buy some mining site and mine the federal government could not license him because they want him to if you want to come and produce, since you do finished product, why can't you produce in Nigeria since you have let Nigeria be a production center. When Nigeria is a production center, a lot of things will come in. The machines, the technical know-how, and our people will benefit. As you are constructing the company, the laborer in the local community will get engaged and job will be created. And as such, with that policy, the Tesla man was not able to stay because he just wanted the material raw and go out. So when the government now insisted that any company that will take out our mineral must have value addition before it can. Look at what Dangote is doing with limestone. You know, the Bua of this world, the Manga cement. They get the limestone here, they get the sand here, they get all the particle and the laterite to do the binding particle of cement are all available beneath our soil. And this company are cited there. You know the value chain of what Dangote is doing to many people are employed in that value chain. So the Ministry of Mine there's a new sheriff in town, and there's been a progressive growth from last year to this year. It's going between 3 to 5% and fluctuating. In this first quarter now, we have recorded about 2 to 3%, and before the year runs out, on the average, we'll be doing 4%. Which
I'll get to that percentage aspect of the issue, but let's see. Extract some of the main aspect of the mining sector, which you have started, but the growth percentage or the recorded avenue and achievement will come to that. But one thing that that struck me when you were talking was the lithium aspect. On my show here, Market Report, I normally talk about lithium price, and I also made mention that how the federal government want to leverage on lithium, either at primary level export or secondary level export or tertiary level export. We talk about finished product and the rest of them. But you have struck me with that, and I'm beginning to get the sense that actually government is doing a lot in that regard. But beyond that, let's look at the FDI direction of the government in the mining sector, which the minister was trying to point out that over 188 companies was given licenses and the rest of them. But the question is, how much are we doing to ensure, even though you gave the example of the Tesla issue, but how much are we doing to ensure that those FDI will come here, build a factory, and ensure they produce their product, not from the primary level, but to secondary level and to tertiary level?
You see, in everything you want to do in life, the roots is very, very important.
Exactly.
Since when you have the China got to where they are today by having that if you don't produce it, don't consume it. They call it China Kange in China when they started, and that's what take China to where they are today. So the government must start from somewhere.
Exactly.
At least with this step, this 7-point agenda, the 7-point agenda of the Alake-led Ministry of Mine has already set the ball rolling, and then the Rome was not built overnight. We have to go from one step to the other. But by and large, before now, the mining aspect is just for all commerce. There is no regulatory. If you just have, that is lithium or that is bauxite somewhere, you just pick your hole and look for men. You start digging. When you see any precious stone, you cut it away. Now, that is a part of the 7-point agenda is a joint mining police that will go to the mine site to make sure that sharp practices are curbed on site. Then if you are not a registered company, you cannot even mine anywhere in Nigeria now. Before, it's not like that. Then if you are mining, the level of mining that you are doing, the area you covered is known by the government. And as such, you cannot evade revenue and tax that the government owes. So these are the critical aspects that we started with first. Then I brought about the issue of, if you go to Kogi State near Itobe, you will see, even before now, you see a ceramic site. These ceramic are gotten from the rock around that particular community. So, and the company is started there. If you look at the tiles we use in Nigeria, 70% are from such companies, and those companies are dotted the landscape of Nigeria. from the beginning, from the first step in mining down to the polish of the tiles and to making tile and sending to the market around not only Nigeria, throughout West Africa. As a multinational, international standard tiles being made in that Kogi tiles company. There are more than 3 of them there. These are the steps taken by the ministry to make sure that value addition is critically followed to the letter, and the company are not able to engage in sharp crisis. But there's another game changer with the daily Alake laid second agenda, that this practice must comply with universal best practices, putting in place the international standard both in equipment, manpower, and the know-how. You know, in the mining sector, that are critical, like I'm a geospatial expert, there are critical people who evaluate and know that, okay, this is the best way you should go about the mining. And you can hardly hear the issue of, in Nigeria, the issue of landslide associated with mining site, because the expert are on site to monitor and make sure that the universal best practice are adhered to on site. These are the things. Then, as this scope, the number of companies that you say come in, they will need artisans, they will need miners, they will need all sort of labor that will work on site with them, to even professional like geologists, geographer that will do environmental impact assessment on site. These are the professionalism and wherewith that the government is bringing into it. Then when the foundation is right, and you lay a right foundation from there, now from the 3%, because of the Nigerian landscape is dotted with a lot of minerals, from gold, you name it, you can name more than 30.
But for the government, they are targeting about 5 of them: gold, limestone.
So that's the beginning, that's the starting point. So when they go, as they go on, but because these are the ones that are in high demand. But when they go on, as we gain expertise, and we get expertise, and we've learned from those 6 or 7 that are being put into consideration now. As then we grow with it, then we go into other minerals. Then the landscape of Nigeria will be mined in the best practice, and there is multinational facet to it, like the quality of those minerals you will bring out is the one that will suit the international market. Then talking about the finished product thing, the government is putting, like those companies in Nasarawa State, they are not doing just mining, they are making sure that the lithium is ready for use, so that you can buy finished product directly from Nigeria. You know, lithium are product that are used in battery cell and this electric car. Then before we now get to
the tax issue, part of the issue that have been raised as part of the problem. You know, there was a time in this country that whereby we have local government collecting mining fee, collecting mining registration, then state government doing the same thing. Even some chief or emir in locality do that. And it has been seen as a challenge in that regard. But take us through all the challenges within that sector, apart from what I've just mentioned right now.
The major thing is that, the president recently said the land belongs to the states. Then there is legislation on land acts and land use. So for you to, that's why we have a ministry. As you register as a company under the ministry, before you are cadastrated and you are assigned a location.
When you say cadastrated, I know many of our viewers will be, is a big technical word. Can you break it down?
Cadastration is just like mapping out a space for you.
Okay.
And that's a geographical term for you to have, when you have your map, that particular place that is for you is cadastrated for you. So the cadastration office is just to tell you this is the range where you can mine. So before you are given a location, that location is prone to so many environmental as you mine, so many environmental hazards may occur. As before it occur, the government will tell you these are the type of equipment and the best mining practices you should have on site. Then there's the human factor, like what we have in the Niger Delta and the oil companies. So as you come to, the people will come and tell you that this land belongs to us, then there is a corporate social responsibility. So when you have some of them, or some of their own, working with you on site, and those ones that are educated, they are one of your officials, and you employ the locals, they know that their own children and their own, like what I told you about the Kaduna Niger axis now, is the people in that locality that help in the process of building up about $600 million investment is being poured into those two companies, so that when they spring up, many activities will start taking place from the movement of goods and services around the complex where that company will be. Then the people will benefit. That's development being brought to the people. So mining sites are also, then the chiefs and other people that come on board. That's the way you sit down. Like that's the way, when the Ogoni land issue started, the government has to sit down with them. Now, I haven't learned from that particular experience. So in the mining community, some of this land are compensated. When they are compensated, the people know that they have been paid for their land. Then if there is insecurity, like what we have in Zamfara and part of Northwest, they are associated with mineral smuggling and other things. So the bandits may go to a mining site, run out all the miners and all those people on site and continue the mining for themselves. Even somewhere in the Borno axis, this Lake Chad, is rich and endowed in so many minerals, including petroleum. So it's associated with so many insurgency and war over the world. Sometimes have undertone of mineral smuggling and peddling. But the government haven't seen that. What the government is trying to do is to involve the community in when they own this product, when the people own it, then the security have been stepped up in recent time. The rail line to Kaduna recently developed a fort, and the passenger in it start panicking as to their fate, because when the train suddenly stop, the bandits may suddenly pound on them. But within 30 minutes or 10 minutes of that occurrence, there was a rescue mission, and helicopters of the Nigerian Army, Air Force was hovering the sky, trying to calm down the passenger that the area is being surveyed and that they are under protection just along the Kaduna axis of the train. Just in a few weeks back, this is the level of the way our security have been prompt. Some people who are there say they thought it's in the movie, because it has never happened that way before in Nigeria. But this is where we are going, and we can always get better. So the mineral sector too, there is what they call early warning system in geography. Early warning system is that before something will occur, you have to do mitigation preparedness, so that you should not run into problem. So in the mining sector, people in the community are being involved by compensation. Then some of them have interest in this company that will mine in their locality, and as such, youth irresiveness will be curbed by giving them job in such company. And you know that a lot of people, a lot of hardworking manual labor are needed in the mining sector. So when you have digged the soil and you are tired, I don't see the time that you have to go and cause insecurity. So as such, the insecurity may still perverse, but with time, I think we are going to get there, and the future will be bright in the mining
talking
sector.
about the future of the mining sector, which is quite very large. They would have also taken an X-ray dissection around. What I mean the future is this: the federal government is targeting 3% in terms of how that mining sector will grow, add to the GDP. And we saw the last quantum of production from the mining sector was about 54.8 million tons of all the mineral resources that was taken, apart from crude oil from Nigeria. But with this 3%, that means you are targeting close to 150 million tons. Do you see them getting that target?
You see, if you are on a journey, you know from the point you are taking off, you know where you are going. The moment you have set up, I'm going to so kilometer, you can't stay in one place and get to where you are going. At least the government have set out a roadmap as to how they will get there. Yes, there is no journey in life that doesn't have some little friction and punch up along the road. But as you learn by, with time, the mining sector will even contribute more than that 3%, because the projection of 3%, I think, is even too small.
Now, why did you say it's too small?
It's too small because there was a time in this country, we have coal in Enugu, we have tin in Jos. Then the iron ore around Delta, Katsina, and the Ajakuta of today. See, these are all mining sites. These are all mining prospective industry that can spring up. So why I say the projection is based on the potentiality of Nigeria. 3% of mining activities. Even the petroleum, I think it's just is not solid minerals. It's still a mining. It's still a mining. So it's just a use of nomenclature, but the solid minerals aspect of it. So 3%. The limes that they use to do cement, because we have to look at all these things. The companies, they mine these resources. So if you do not put all those things into consideration, that's when you'll be talking about 3%. Do you know the volume of cement Dangote, Mangal are producing, and they're not getting the lines from the soils of Nigeria? So the government should broaden their scope. So we should be doing at least 6%. And when I say in the 70s and the 80s, the coal in Enugu powered so many industries in Europe, and the tin was used for lead and electronics implement. Nigeria have the best cable wire in the world up to today as a result of the tin that was mined in Jos. So at such time they call Jos the tin city. So what I'm trying to bring about is that there is need, because it's relatively my field.
You are one of the players in that industry.
So it's relatively my field. So what we have beneath our soil that has not been explored, 3% is just the starting point when everything, all hands are on deck. That's what I mean.
I agree with you on that regard, because 3% is quite small. But on the part of the government, as you rightly pointed out, also a journey that starts today, start with a step. So hopefully, maybe next year they may double it to about 6% or 9%. But before we round up on the show, which is quite very interesting, also take a dive into, what would be your advice to the federal government of Nigeria, the state particularly? And I know the federal government on their own, they are doing a lot. But the state, if I ask now, how many state government or how many state has operational functional license to even exploit the ground or mine anything? Do you have an idea of any state?
In recent time, the constitution has been devolved so that they devolve more power, and they remove some of the production activities and some of key economic variables away from the federal government, so that the state can run some things that will not be on an exclusive list. And I think the governors are coming, like the national state governor is quite doing a lot to make sure that the state tap into the enormous mineral resources that are in the land. Those two companies, the man has to travel to China to see how it's been done. Then it brought in, as a result of it, brought in partners, and those two companies have spring up. I told you, Niger and Kaduna, they have a lot of partnership in, if not the war, there is the banditry that is in the northwest. Zamfara, Kebbi State and Sokoto State is later, the land around there is filled with golds. So by now, gold refineries are supposed to be in those places. So the state government are now key into it because of the liberalization of the sector. That's one of the 7-point agenda of the Dele Alake-led administration. So going forward, all the states will key into it. And if you go to Osun State and some part of Southwest, Mabu have been, even Kwara State, Mabu have been mined as a result of liberalization. And these Mabu are precious stones that are need for construction all over the world. And we have it in ample in the southwestern part of Nigeria. So as such, the journey, as I've told you, the journey has begun. And that key 7-point of the Alake-led ministry is already yielding result. And that's why the artisan can come up more than 900 company registering at a time, just to be sure to be part of the, now the regulation is there. Just like when we have a sole communication agency, which is NITEL. You know how moribund our services are then. But now that it's been liberalized, we have more than 4 or 5 service provider. We have about 10 data agencies that you can go. I don't want to mention their names.
You don't want to give them free advice.
So, but today we have so many telecom company that are doing well. And if this one is not providing service for you the way you need, you can always migrate to the other. And the mining sectors will get there. But I think the Asiwaju-led administration under the watch of Dele Alake in that ministry, they are on course, and I think the sky will be our beginning.
Exactly. Talking about the sky will be our target. Talking about the government target economically on the mining sector. And if I heard it from Yusuf, as a player, as an industry watcher, someone who has participated in that sector, he knows how deep, how dive some of the sector is. And you can see, if not for insurgency, we would have been having gold refining, factory all over in Zamfara, Katsina, and the rest of it. But we just hope that the security situation will die down and government can really tap And as Yusuf also projected, we should be targeting about 6%. Although members of the authority of Nigerian state government may be listening to us, and they can also take a cue from what you have said. But from us, it's an understanding that the mining sector has a big role to play in the Nigerian economy. And one of such big role is that it creates employment, create an enabling environment for foreign direct investment, and also help, particularly gold, which I'm so interested in as part of my reportage or my show market report. Gold is abundantly in Nigeria. And recently, the federal government had a partnership with CBN, whereby gold that been mined by the federal government is now being bought over by the Central Bank of Nigeria, which now become a bullion van as a means of safeguarding and revaluing the Nigerian currency. Man, these are quite interesting aspects in the mining sector. And we just hope, as a developing story, we had the opportunity to bring someone like Yusuf to come back and talk more about it. But for today, we really appreciate you for coming.
It's nice being here, and it's been thoughtful engagement.
Exactly.
Really appreciate it.
Exactly.